first speaker is Stewart Edmondson from the UK Skills Foundation. He's the CEO. It's a nationally recognised charity that champions electronics in the UK, 26 partner universities and 600 secondary schools. At university, the UK ESF works with employers to develop and support students, preparing them for graduate employment.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to you today. Something completely different from the last presentation. It starts off, the title of the talk is There's a Challenge, Not Enough People in Verification. If you don't agree with that, put your hand up. Few. Otherwise, it would be a very short talk. I'm going to explain a little bit about our organisation, a little bit about the broader challenge, because the fact there's a challenge with not enough people in verification is a subset of a broader challenge, and then some specific things that I think you can all do to help tackle this challenge. What do? We are, as Mike says, a charity. We've been around since 2010. We were formed out of NMI, which is the trade association. And that's what we do. We sit at the centre between academia, university, schools and industry, and we try and promote electronics to encourage more young people to come into the sector. And we work with universities to encourage and support students who are studying at university to connect them with employers. And interestingly, there's several people in the session here today that we've worked with and we've supported, and it's fantastic to see and hear them speak. Conor Flanagan, who delivered an excellent talk about his role as a verification engineer, really exciting, inspiring talk. He was one of the people who came to our scheme. So that's what we do. As Mike said, we work with a number of universities, 26 universities across the UK, and we support them in terms of developing their students, supporting their students in deployment, and working on getting more people into the sector. So what's the challenge? Why do we exist? Well, this data, hopefully you can see this. This comes from UCAS. This is acceptances. These are UK domiciled students accepting places at university over the last 10 years. And I've picked out civil engineering, mechanical engineering, general engineering, and our subject, Triple E, across those 10 years, along with computer science. Now, if you look at the right-hand side, the reality is only 3,245 students started Triple E degrees last year. It's less than half the number that do in mechanical engineering, which is over 7,000, and over 15,000 are doing computer science. Interesting enough, of those 3,245, only 335 were female. So that's the explanation of why there is a skills challenge, that the fact that fundamentally there aren't enough people studying our subject at university more broadly, and therefore the number going into verification is consequently small as well. And if you look over the last 10 years, it hasn't increased. We can talk about, if I had more than 10 minutes, I could talk about some of the reasons, we could discuss that, but that is a fact, and that's where we are. What are the consequences of that? Well, down the road at Reading, don't know, maybe some of you work with IC Resources. They're a really a large recruiting company, and they do, at the end of the year, they do a salary information. And this is a start, so the starting salary for a verification engineer, straight from graduate, is the average is £34,000. Gavin's looking at me, he's thinking I'm not quite on that, or I am, or I'm not. That's the average. So and as Harry's slide, I thought that was really interesting, wasn't it? That the demand for verification engineers has increased by 130-odd%. Interestingly, design engineers 30%. So overall, the demand is increasing. So a supply isn't increasing. Therefore, one of the consequences is salary increase across the board. That's one of the consequences. Obviously, there are others as well. So what can we do about it? What are we as a foundation doing about it? The first thing we need to do is encourage more young people to be aware of electronics. They're very familiar with technology. They've all got smartphones. What they don't appreciate is what goes into the smartphone. Also, they don't see people like themselves in the sector. It's characterized, isn't it, that there's some horrible characterizations of our sector in terms of and I don't wish to offend anyone because pale, male and stale, you know, I'm a male in my late 50s as well. So I'll just say that out there. These are three people that we've featured in some promotion material, Patrick, Michaela and Eva. They're not pale, male and stale. They've all come through our scheme and they're all working in the sector now. So we need to inspire more young people that there's interesting work that they can do at companies that they probably haven't even heard of, frankly, as well. That's also a challenge, raising our profile, but people look like them who work in electronics. We need to give them hands-on experience and we need to help teachers. So we've come up with a project called Electronics Everywhere. And what it does, we provide resources to schools to help A-level physics teachers and A-level computer science teachers teach the electronics, the core electronics parts of those subjects in a more engaging way. We've got hands-on resources and they're being used there by pupils. We sent out lots last year, sent them out to schools, and we supported over 550 schools and teachers. And we get some great feedback. People like hands-on activities. If you explain the subject, demystify it, give people opportunities, then you've got a half a chance. I talked about the paucity of female students studying electronics. We're tackling that as well through an initiative called Girls into Electronics. So this year we're running 10 events at our hosted by some of our partner universities to give them an insight to answer three questions. What is electronics? What's it like to study electronics at university? And what's it like to work in the sector? Tail end of last year, the Verification Futures group within the Verification Forum, within NMI asked me to come up with, you know, what should we do what can be done? I had three recommendations. We need to raise awareness of design verification among students. Students generally aren't aware of verification. It's not their fault, they just aren't. And we need to make it more visible. Need to get closer with universities, and you need to provide opportunities for young students to get some work experience in the sector. Role models are really important. I want to read a quote, and it's important that students learn, you know, the tools of the trade, as it were, but it's important that they're motivated, and because if they're motivated, it's a pull factor. This is a quote. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather wood, divide the work and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. Now, that wasn't about verification, that's about something else. But what we have to do is get people interested, motivate them, inspire them about the vast and endless sea of verification. The talk that Connor gave next door, that you didn't hear because you were in here, was really, he was talking about why he gets out of bed, why he likes to go to work and be a verification engineer, the soft skills, his sense of achievement. It was palpable. What we need to do is get more people like that in front of students. I'm going to, yep. The last thing I was going to say, work placements, we have a great scheme. We can connect you as employers with students to work for you. We have a really great success rate from our universities. If you want to know more, please contact me.
Thank you very much, Stu. Sorry to squeeze you down to your camera. Thank you.